Before Pakistan came into being in 1947, the land was part of British India. The currency used across the subcontinent was the British Indian Rupee. This currency system was quite detailed and had its own unique structure, which many people from that era still remember. The rupee was the main unit, but it was divided into smaller parts. 1 rupee was equal to 16 annas. This system was not based on tens or hundreds, which is common today. Instead, it followed a more traditional division that had been used for centuries. Each anna was further divided into 4 pice, and each pice was divided into 3 pies, so 1 rupee was made up of 16 annas, 64 pice, or 192 pies. This might seem complicated to us now, but it was the standard way of handling money for a very long time. The coins and notes of that period had distinctive features that reflected the ruling power. The coins were made from various metals like silver, copper, and nickel. You could find coins for media group, high-resolution images of 1 rupee, half rupee, and quarter rupee coins from British India stock would distribute equally, 1 rupee, half a rupee, a quarter rupee, and smaller values like 2 annas, 1 anna, and even half an anna. These coins often featured the portrait of the British monarch. You would see the face of King George V, and later, King George VI, on one side of the coin. The other side would typically show the value of the coin and the year it was made, written in English, Urdu, and other regional languages. These coins were heavy, and had a solid feel to them, a physical representation of value that people trusted in their daily transactions. Banknotes were also a crucial part of the economy, especially for larger amounts. The Reserve Bank of India was responsible for issuing these notes. The notes came in various denominations such as media group, close-up of 1 rupee banknote from British India, image of different note denominations, and saw stock distribute equally. 1, 2, 5, 10, and 100 rupees. Just like the coins, the banknotes prominently featured the portrait of the British monarch, King George VI. This was a clear symbol of British authority over the Indian subcontinent. The designs on these notes were often very intricate, with detailed patterns and watermarks to prevent people from making fake copies. The value was written in multiple languages to ensure that people across the vast and diverse region could understand and use the currency without confusion. This monetary system was the backbone of the economy for decades. It facilitated trade, commerce, and everyday life for millions of people. When the movement for independence gained momentum, the idea of having a separate currency became a part of the larger dream of sovereignty. The British Indian Rupee was more than just money. It was a symbol of the colonial era. The journey towards a new independent currency for Pakistan would be a significant step in establishing its own national identity. The old system of annas and pies would soon give way to a new chapter in the financial history of the region, starting with the birth of a new nation. On August 14, 1947, Pakistan was born. The creation of a new country brought with it immense challenges. One of the most immediate and practical problems was the need for a national currency. A country cannot function without its own money. However, designing, printing, and distributing new banknotes and minting new coins takes a lot of time. The newly formed government of Pakistan needed a quick and effective solution to keep the economy running smoothly. There was no time to wait for a new currency to be fully developed. The leaders had to find a temporary measure that would work for everyone in the new state. The solution was both simple and clever. Pakistan decided to continue using the existing British Indian Rupee notes for a temporary period. This made sense because people were already familiar with these notes and trusted them. To distinguish the money used in Pakistan from the money used in India, a special system was put in place. The government of Pakistan began to overprint existing Indian banknotes with a stamp. This stamp clearly marked the notes as legal tender within the borders of Pakistan. The words "Government of Pakistan" were printed in English and "Hukumati Pakistan" in Urdu, one on the top and one on the bottom of the white space where the watermark was. This provisional arrangement was a critical step. It ensured that there was no financial vacuum or chaos in the early days of the nation. People could continue their daily business, buying and selling goods, without any disruption. These stamped notes were used for all transactions, from small purchases in the market to large government payments. The denominations that were stamped included 1, 2, 5, 10, and 100 rupee notes. This emergency measure was planned to last for a little over a year, giving the new government enough time to establish its own central bank and prepare for the issuance of Pakistan's very own currency. The stamp notes served their purpose well, but they were always meant to be a temporary bridge. They represented a period of transition, a moment between the colonial past and the independent future. For the people of Pakistan, seeing the name of their own government printed on the currency, even if it was just a stamp on an old note, was a powerful symbol. It was a tangible sign that a new authority was now in charge of their economic destiny. This simple act of stamping notes was the first chapter in the long and fascinating story of the Pakistani Rupee. The next logical step for the new nation was to establish its own central banking authority. A country needs a central bank to manage its currency, control the money supply, and oversee the banking system. On July 1, 1948, this crucial institution was created. The State Bank of Pakistan was inaugurated by the founder of the nation, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. This was a landmark event. It signaled Pakistan's move towards full monetary independence. The state bank was now tasked with the important job of issuing Pakistan's first official currency, moving away from the temporary stamped Indian notes that had been in circulation. A few months after its establishment, the State Bank of Pakistan began to issue the country's first series of banknotes. On October 1, 1948, the first Pakistani currency notes were introduced. These were emergency issues, printed quickly to replace the stamped notes. The initial denominations were 5, 10, and 100 rupees. These notes were different from the previous ones. They did not feature the portrait of the British monarch. Instead, they were decorated with designs that reflected Pakistan's own identity. The notes were printed by a British company, Thomas de la Rue and Company, as Pakistan did not yet have its own security printing press. The designs on these first notes were simple, yet meaningful. They were meant to be functional and get into circulation as quickly as possible. The primary imagery on the front of the notes was a crescent and star, a powerful national symbol. The back of the notes featured important landmarks and symbols of Pakistan's heritage. For example, the 5 rupee note showed the gateway to the Lahore fort, a historic site of great importance. The 10 rupee note depicted the famous Shalimar Gardens in Lahore. These images were chosen to instill a sense of national pride and to connect the new currency with the rich culture and history of the land. In early 1949, lower denomination notes of 1 and 2 rupees were also issued by the government of Pakistan. Unlike the higher denominations issued by the state bank, these smaller notes were the responsibility of the central government. This first series of Pakistani banknotes marked a complete break from the colonial past. The currency in people's hands was now truly Pakistani. It was a physical manifestation of the country's sovereignty and a vital tool for building its new economy. The journey of the Pakistani Rupee had truly begun, with its own unique designs and the backing of its own central bank. A significant change in Pakistan's currency came in the 1950s. The early banknotes had featured landmarks and symbols, but there was a growing desire to have the portrait of the nation's founder, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, on the currency. He was revered as the Quaid-e-Azam, or the Great Leader. Putting his portrait on the banknotes was seen as a way to honor his memory and to create a unifying symbol for the entire country. In 1957, the State Bank of Pakistan began issuing a new series of banknotes that prominently featured the Quaid-e-Azam's portrait. This became a standard feature that has continued on almost all Pakistani currency ever since. The introduction of Jinnah's portrait was more than just a design change. It had a deep psychological impact. It solidified his status as the father of the nation and placed his image in the hands of every citizen. The notes now carried a human face that people could connect with, a constant reminder of the leader who fought for their independence. The portrait was usually placed on the right side of the note, next to a watermark of the same image for security. This decision ensured that the Quaid-e-Azam's legacy would be an inseparable part of Pakistan's economic and national identity, seen and touched by millions every day. Another monumental shift happened a few years later. On January 1, 1961, Pakistan moved from the old complex system of annas and pies to a decimal system. This process is known as decimalization. The rupee was now divided into 100 paisa instead of 16 annas. This was a major step towards modernizing the country's financial system. The decimal system was much simpler to understand and use. It made calculations easier for everyone, from shopkeepers to bankers. It also aligned Pakistan's currency with the international standard, which was based on units of 100. To manage this transition, new coins were introduced. Coins with values of 1, 5 and 10 paisa were minted. For a short period, these new coins were called Naya Paisa, or New Paisa, to distinguish them from the old Pice coins. This helped people get used to the new system. The old Anna coins were gradually withdrawn from circulation. The switch to the decimal system was a challenging but necessary reform. It streamlined the economy and made financial transactions more efficient. Along with the portrait of the Quaid-e-Azam, decimalization marked a key moment in the evolution of the Pakistani Rupee, making it more modern and more symbolic of the nation's identity. The year 1971 was, honestly, a time of immense political turmoil and crisis for Pakistan. The civil war in East Pakistan led to the secession of the Eastern Wing and, well, the creation of the independent nation of Bangladesh. This event had a profound and immediate impact on the entire country, including its currency. A large quantity of Pakistani currency notes was in circulation in East Pakistan, and there was a serious concern that these notes could be unlawfully brought back into West Pakistan and used to destabilize the economy. The government had to act quickly to prevent a financial crisis fueled by this so-called demonetized currency. To address this threat, the government made a drastic decision. On June 5, 1971, all existing 100 rupee and 500 rupee notes were demonetized. This meant they were declared no longer legal tender. People who had these notes were given a very short window of time to exchange them for new ones, and they had to provide proof of how they obtained the money. This move was aimed at rendering the large stashes of currency in the former East Pakistan worthless. It was a radical measure, but it was seen as necessary to protect the country's economic stability during a period of national trauma and uncertainty. Following the demonetization, the State Bank of Pakistan had to quickly issue a whole new series of banknotes to replace the old ones. This new series, released in 1972, had completely different designs and color schemes. This was done to make them easily distinguishable from the demonetized notes. The portrait of Muhammad Ali Jinnah remained, but the imagery on the back of the notes was updated. The new designs continued to showcase Pakistan's culture, history, and progress. For example, some notes featured images of archaeological sites like Mohenjo-Daro, while others depicted modern symbols of development like dams and universities. This period also saw changes in the denominations of the currency. The 500 rupee note, which had been temporarily demonetized, was eventually reintroduced with a new design. A new 50 rupee note was also introduced for the first time in 1976. This expansion of denominations reflected the changing economic needs of the country. The events of 1971 forced a complete overhaul of Pakistan's currency, and the new banknotes that emerged from this crisis represented a fresh start. They were a symbol of resilience, marking a new chapter for the Pakistani rupee in a geographically smaller but determined nation. As economies grow and printing technology becomes, more advanced, the problem of counterfeit currency becomes more serious. Fake banknotes can really undermine public confidence in the currency and, honestly, cause significant economic damage. In the 1980s and 90s, the State Bank of Pakistan began to focus heavily on improving the security features of its banknotes to combat the growing threat of counterfeiting. The goal was to make the notes much harder to copy, and, at the same time, easier for the public and for banks to verify as genuine. This led to the introduction of several new and sophisticated anti-counterfeiting measures. One of the most important security features added during this time was the security thread. This is a thin metallic or plastic strip that is embedded into the paper of the banknote. In the 1980s series, this thread was a simple, solid line that could be seen when the note was held up to the light. Over time, this technology evolved. The thread became windowed, meaning it appeared as a series of dashes on the surface of the note, but was a solid line when viewed against a light source. Later versions of the thread even had micro-printing on them, with the words State Bank of Pakistan or the denomination of the note repeated in tiny letters. Another key security enhancement was the improvement of the watermark. The watermark, which is an image embedded in the paper during its manufacturing process, had always been a feature of Pakistani notes. It typically showed the portrait of Quaid-e-Azam. To make it more secure, the watermarks were made more detailed and complex. In addition to the portrait, the denomination of the note was also added to the watermark. This dual watermark made it much more difficult for counterfeiters to replicate accurately. These features are created within the paper itself, not printed on top, making them very effective security tools. Other features were also introduced to stay ahead of counterfeiters. These included the use of special inks that change color when viewed from different angles, known as optically variable ink. Intaglio printing, a technique that leaves a raised texture on the paper, was used for the main portrait and other key elements, allowing people to feel the print. Latent images, which are images that only appear when the note is tilted at a certain angle, were also added. All these features, when combined, created a multi-layered defense system. The continuous effort to enhance security showed the central bank's commitment to maintaining the integrity and trustworthiness of the Pakistani rupee. The early 2000s marked a period of significant economic change in Pakistan, and, well, the currency needed to adapt. Inflation and economic growth meant that people were carrying larger amounts of cash for their transactions. The existing denominations were becoming insufficient for big purchases. To address this, the State Bank of Pakistan made a bold move. In 2005, it announced the introduction of a completely new series of banknotes. This series would not only have modern designs and enhanced security, but would also include a much higher denomination, the 5,000 rupee note. The decision to issue a 5,000 rupee note was driven by practical economic reasons. It was intended to facilitate large value transactions, reduce the physical amount of cash people and businesses needed to handle, and lower the costs of printing and transporting currency for the central bank. When it was introduced in 2006, the 5,000 rupee note was one of the highest denomination banknotes in the world relative to its value. Its introduction was met with some debate. Some worried it could make illegal transactions easier, while others praised it for making business more convenient. The note featured a mustard color and depicted the iconic Faisal Mosque in Islamabad on its back. This new series, which was rolled out between 2005 and 2008, represented a complete modernization of Pakistan's paper currency. The notes were designed to be more durable and more secure than ever before. The series included denominations of 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 500, 1000, and the new 5,000 rupees. The 5 rupee note was later discontinued and replaced with a coin. Each banknote had a distinct color to make it easily recognizable. The designs on the back of the notes were carefully chosen to represent Pakistan's diverse geography and rich heritage, from the mountains of the north to the deserts of the south. The imagery on this modern series is a journey across Pakistan. The 10 rupee note features the Babi Khyber, the gateway to the historic Khyber Pass. The 20 rupee note shows the archaeological site of Mohenjo-Daro, a testament to the ancient Indus Valley civilization. The 100 rupee note displays the Ziyarat residency, where the Quaid-e-Azam spent his last days. The 1,000 rupee note features Islamia College in Peshawar, a historic center of learning. These designs were not just decorative. They were meant to be a source of national pride and a celebration of Pakistan's identity in the 21st century. This series remains the current circulating currency in Pakistan today. Just as banknotes have evolved over the years, so too have the coins used in Pakistan. In the early days after independence, the coins were similar in size and metal composition to their British Indian predecessors. They were made of nickel, or copper nickel, and represented fractions of the rupee under the old Anna system. After decimalization in 1961, a new set of coins was introduced in denominations of 1, 5, and 10 paisa. As inflation began to rise over the decades, the value of these small coins decreased significantly. The cost of the metal used to make them eventually became higher than their face value. This economic reality led to a gradual decline in the use and production of small denomination coins. The 1 paisa coin was the first to disappear from circulation, followed by the 5, 10, and 25 paisa coins. By the 1990s, the 50 paisa coin was the smallest unit in regular use, and even its relevance was fading. The government introduced new coins for 1 and 2 rupees to replace the banknotes of the same value, as coins are much more durable and cost-effective for smaller denominations that change hands frequently. Later, a 5 rupee coin was also introduced, and the 5 rupee banknote was phased out. Today, coins are only used for small transactions, a stark contrast to the past when they formed the backbone of daily commerce. While Pakistan's coins were changing, the world of banknotes was also seeing new innovations. One of the most significant developments in currency technology has been the shift from paper to polymer. Polymer banknotes are essentially plastic notes made from a synthetic material. They offer several advantages over traditional cotton paper notes. They are much more durable and can last 2 to 3 times longer in circulation. This reduces the need for frequent reprinting, saving the central bank a considerable amount of money. Polymer notes are also cleaner, as they do not absorb moisture, dirt, and oils as easily as paper. Furthermore, polymer notes can incorporate advanced security features that are not possible with paper. These include transparent windows, intricate holographic images, and other visual effects that are extremely difficult to counterfeit. Many countries, including Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom, have successfully transitioned to polymer currency. The State Bank of Pakistan has also explored the possibility of introducing polymer notes. Commemorative polymer notes have been issued in the past, but a full switch for circulating currency has not yet been made. Such a move would represent another major step in the modernization of the Pakistani Rupee, enhancing its security and durability for the future. The story of the Pakistani Rupee in recent decades has been heavily influenced by economic challenges, particularly inflation and devaluation. Inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and, subsequently, purchasing power is falling. For the average Pakistani, this means that their rupee buys less today than it did yesterday. Over the years, persistent inflation has eroded the value of the currency. The disappearance of paisa coins and the introduction of the 5,000 rupee note are direct consequences of this long-term trend. What once could be bought for a few rupees now costs hundreds or even thousands. Devaluation is another key factor. This refers to the decrease in the rupee's value compared to other currencies, especially the US dollar. A weaker rupee makes imports more expensive, which can lead to higher prices for everything from fuel to food items. This external pressure has been a constant challenge for Pakistan's economy. The exchange rate of the rupee against the dollar is a closely watched indicator of the country's financial health. These economic pressures have a real impact on the lives of ordinary people, affecting their savings, their cost of living, and their ability to plan for the future. The rupee's journey has been a story of resilience in the face of these powerful economic forces. As we look to the future, the world of money is undergoing another massive transformation: the shift towards digital currency. Physical cash, both notes and coins, is being used less frequently in many parts of the world. People are increasingly using debit cards, credit cards, mobile wallets, and online banking for their transactions. Pakistan is also part of this global trend. The State Bank of Pakistan is actively promoting digital payments to create a more efficient and transparent financial system. This move towards a less cash society has the potential to improve financial inclusion, reduce corruption, and make the economy more robust. The ultimate step in this digital evolution could be the introduction of a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. A CBDC would be a digital version of the Pakistani Rupee, issued and backed by the state bank. It would not be a private cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, but an official, risk-free form of digital money. The state bank is studying the feasibility of launching a CBDC. The path ahead for the Pakistani Rupee is one of navigating these new digital frontiers while continuing to manage the traditional challenges of inflation and economic stability. The rupee, which began as a stamped note, is now on the cusp of entering a new, intangible, and digital age, reflecting the ever-changing nature of money and the nation itself.